Franklin Richards is one of the most powerful characters in all of Marvel Comics, and his arrival in the MCU has some startling implications. After years of hype and speculation, the Fantastic Four are finally joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fantastic Four First Steps marks a bold new beginning for Marvel's first family, but there's another reason why that title is especially appropriate. First Steps is also the first live-action appearance of Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. Despite the team's multiple cinematic adaptations over the earlier 2 decades, multiple planned sequels fell apart before Franklin could be introduced. It's only because First Steps takes place years after the four gain their abilities that he's given the chance to make an appearance.
You're gonna be the best mom in the world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth. We are gonna be the best uncles ever.
But here's the thing. No, not that one. Franklin is more than just a child of heroes like Morgan Stark or T'Challa II. As a matter of fact, he's all but guaranteed to be one of the most pivotal figures in the MCU moving forward. That's because in the comics, Franklin is an Omega-level mutant, meaning he's one of the strongest and most dangerous characters around. When Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four, they wanted them to be more than just a superhero team. They wanted their characters to feel like real people with real relationships, which is why they were written to be more than just work colleagues. They're also a family. Reed Richards marries Sue Storm in 1965's Fantastic Four Annual Issue 3, making Johnny Storm his brother-in-law. Naturally, the next step was for Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman to have a baby. Lee and Kirby saw the creative potential in this immediately. As Lee revealed in an interview, "It occurred to me we could have a lot of fun with that, because we would assume that if 2 people with superpowers have a baby, the baby might have a superpower. But what superpower would he have? And we could keep the readers guessing for years until the baby grew up."
Do we really want to raise kids in all this? Face it, we're not exactly normal.
Sue Storm is revealed to be pregnant not long after the wedding, setting the stage for plenty of family drama in the years to come. It's not easy giving birth to one of the most powerful beings in the universe. In 1968's Fantastic Four Annual Issue 6, shortly before Sue is due to go into labor, Reed discovers that cosmic radiation in her bloodstream is threatening to kill both mother and unborn child. The only thing that can save her is a cosmic control rod, which is wielded by the villain Annihilus in the alternate dimension known as the Negative Zone. With help from the Thing and the Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic enters the Negative Zone and catches Annihilus' attention. After a difficult battle, they subdue the evildoer and take the cosmic control rod right off of his chest. The gadget helps him return home safely, and Reed uses some of its power to save his wife and child. Thankfully, she gives birth to a healthy baby boy, and she takes maternity leave from the team to take care of him. It would take quite a few more issues before the child is given the name Franklin Benjamin Richards. Franklin, after Sue and Johnny's father, Franklin Storm, and Benjamin, after his godfather, Ben Grimm. After that, though, it's only a matter of time before his powers start coming in and throwing the Fantastic Four into disarray. For a while, Franklin seems like a relatively normal boy. Reed and Sue hire a nanny by the name of Agatha Harkness to watch their son as they go about their daily lives saving the world. Despite her reputation, she's a pretty solid babysitter, using her witchy abilities to keep Franklin safe from all sorts of threats. The first time that Franklin Richards uses his powers is in Fantastic Four Issue 130, when he awakens the Thing after he's knocked unconscious by the Frightful Four. Instead of getting the chance to develop his powers naturally, things are kicked into high gear when Annihilus returns, hitting him with rays that unlock his full potential. Without any time to think of a better way to stop his son from killing countless people, Reed shoots him with a special gun that puts him into a coma. Understandably, Sue doesn't take it very well. Franklin comes to a few issues later when he stops Ultron 7 by hitting him with massively powerful energy blasts. The outburst also undoes the effects of Annihilus' machine, but it's not long until Franklin's powers pull him back into action. Every superhero needs a suitable name, and Franklin has gone through a few. In Fantastic Four, issue 244 and 245, the young mutant finds himself so affected by the phrase "grow up" that turns him into a fully grown man. Now known as Avatar, he unwittingly wreaks havoc through the Baxter Building until Sue helps him realize who he is. In transforming back to his childhood self, he puts psychic dampers in his own brain to ensure that he gets his abilities only when he's mature enough to use them. But of course, that doesn't mean that Franklin can't go on adventures. Retaining the ability to see possible futures through his dreams, he joins a kids' superhero team known as Power Pack without his parents knowing. Taking on the name Tattletale, Franklin works with the Power siblings to stop the bad futures from coming to pass, even living with them whenever the Fantastic Four's work gets too dangerous for a kid to be present. Once Franklin's time with Power Pack comes to a close, time travel shenanigans ensue. His grandfather, Nathaniel Richards, whisks him away from his time and trains him to become the hero Psi-Lord. Psi-Lord returns to the place from where Franklin was kidnapped and establishes a team called the Fantastic Force, but it's all undone through more time travel wonkery. In 1996, the Onslaught event threw the Marvel Comics universe into chaos. The villain of the same name left dozens of dead superheroes in its wake, molded by the subconscious thoughts of both Professor X and Magneto. He comes after Franklin, gaining his trust by posing as a boy around his age named Charlie. Lots of strong characters prove no match for Onslaught, but Franklin refuses to die so easily. Unfortunately, the malevolent construct manages to harness his powers to rewrite reality, making it even easier for him to kill even more people. Teaming up with the X-Men and some of Earth's other mightiest heroes, the Fantastic Four goes after Onslaught with some rather unlikely allies, like Dr. Doom. They enter his energy form in an attempt to stop him once and for all, and then it explodes, seemingly killing everyone inside. Professor X manages to save Franklin, but there's no more Fantastic Four to take care of him. Of course, no one really dies in the comics. In this case, they never really died at all. Without realizing it, Franklin transports the heroes to a pocket dimension where they live rebooted lives on Counter-Earth. Without his family around, Franklin stays at Professor Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, carrying their new universe around with him in the form of a blue ball. Eventually, the Celestial Ashema tells Franklin that he created another reality, and unfortunately, one of them must be destroyed. After the two meld consciousnesses, they strike a deal, returning the displaced heroes to their proper home and reuniting Franklin with his parents. Franklin is a handful, to say the least, but nevertheless, Reed and Sue decide that their son should have a sibling. Tragically, radiation causes Sue to lose her unborn child, and Franklin is devastated. He uses his abilities to transport her to another universe, and after Onslaught is defeated and the heroes are returned, she comes back. Her name is Valeria, and she was raised by an alternate version of Sue, married to a reformed Dr. Doom.
It's funny how things turn out, isn't it? Hilarious.
Things get messy when the villain Abraxas arrives, collapsing the multiverse and seeking the weapon known as the Ultimate Nullifier. When he gets a hold of it, Franklin and Valeria realize that they can't stop him alone. The siblings work together to resurrect the cosmic being Galactus, compelling him to take the Nullifier from Abraxas and bring it to Reed. Their plan is successful, but when Reed activates the device, it takes away Franklin's powers, seemingly for good. It also turns Valeria back into an unborn child, and Sue has to deal with her difficult pregnancy all over again. Doom ends up being the one who saves the baby's life, so Sue allows him to name her. Just like the alternate universe Doom did, he names her Valeria after his first love. Valeria doesn't have any superpowers, but she has her father's smarts. Franklin, who no longer has his abilities and isn't a super genius, has a bit of a rough time adjusting to the new normal. For a while, Franklin is a mostly normal kid, aside from his remarkable family, of course. It's still a busy time. Onslaught returns and tries to kill him again, and once that's dealt with, the secret invasion plotline heats up, pitting Franklin and Valeria against the Skrulls. Things really heat up in the Dark Reign series, in which Norman Osborn and his organization, Hammer, attack the Baxter building and come after the kids. When Reed gets shot at by Osborn, Franklin shoots back with his toy gun, and somehow the bullet that comes out of it is real. The day is saved, and the only explanation as to how Franklin is able to do that is the return of his powers. Sure enough, that's exactly what's happened. He creates another universe under his blankets, hinting at plenty more reality-warping adventures to come. It's also around this time that Franklin meets a mysterious time-traveling stranger who turns out to be himself from the future. During a battle in Fantastic Four, issue 587, Johnny Storm seemingly sacrifices himself to save the day. The other members of the Fantastic Four decide to disband, but that doesn't mean that they're abandoning their mission. Reed creates a Future Foundation, a team dedicated to fixing problems in order to create a brighter tomorrow. Naturally, Franklin ends up getting roped into quite a few misadventures. Things get a bit confusing when future Franklin arrives in an attempt to reshape the timeline, helping his younger self hone his skills in secret. As part of a plan plan masterminded by Nathaniel Richards, adult versions of Franklin and Valeria show up to help the Future Foundation, including the newly returned Human Torch, defeat the mad Celestials who had just killed Galactus. Franklin resurrects the Devourer of Worlds a second time, giving the good guys the edge they need to keep Earth intact until the next global catastrophe. Adult Franklin and Valeria decide to stay and join the Future Foundation, receiving new costumes with new numbers. Both Franklins get a 5. If you've been paying attention, you might have noticed something. Even though Galactus is one of the Fantastic Four's most infamous foes and the main villain of Fantastic Four First Steps, Franklin seems to be in the habit of bringing him back to life. As you might expect, he has a bit of a complicated relationship with the Devourer of Worlds. Galactus was once a mortal called Galen, and he lived in the 6th incarnation of the universe before he was reborn into the 7th and current universe. One being born from the 7th universe is destined to take on Galactus' role in the 8th, and as it turns out, that's probably going to be Franklin. Galactus is actually afraid of Franklin's power, and he leaves Earth alone in fear of angering him in Fantastic Four issue 585. After Franklin's future self resurrects Galactus, the two find themselves on speaking terms, with the cosmic being expressing gratitude for the fact that he won't have to see the end of time on his own. Franklin's link to Galactus also extends across the multiverse. In the Earth X continuity, Mr. Fantastic defeats the World Eater for good, but his absence disrupts the cosmic balance. In order to restore it, Franklin steps up to take his place, becoming the Galactus of his reality. In that same universe, Silver Surfer, Norrin Radd's lover, Shala Bal, is made a surfer herself, just as she is in Fantastic Four First Steps.
Your planet is now marked for death.
Returning to Earth 616, Franklin's continued work with the Future Foundation is full of ups and downs, to say the least. During the 2015 Secret Wars storyline, Franklin tries to use his abilities to restore the crumbling multiverse, but it's no use. He and most of the other Future Foundation members are actually killed when their ship suffers a hull breach, but they're brought back to life after Reed gains omnipotent powers from Molecule Man. Franklin helps out in the efforts to restore the multiverse to its former glory. These days, Franklin uses a superhero named Powerhouse, and his capabilities have been seriously toned down. After encounters with villains, the Griever at the end of all things, and Cormorant, he's placed more mental dampers in his own mind, convincing himself and everyone else that he no longer has fantastic powers. But there's an exception. Franklin gets his powers back one day a year, allowing him to do seemingly impossible feats for 24 hours every 365 days. Unfortunately for Franklin, it has the downside of preventing him from visiting the mutant-only island of Krakoa. That's where Franklin is in the comics today. He's mostly a normal teenager, but the restoration of his abilities is now an annual event. Fantastic Four First Steps depicts the very beginning of Franklin Richards' life, but there's no telling how powerful this baby is going to end up being. With the film taking place in its own separate universe and Doomsday on the horizon, Franklin is arriving at the perfect time to take part in the multiversal mayhem that his comic book counterpart is known for.
We can do this. Nothing's going to change.
Everything is about to change. Just like the multiverse itself, there are infinite possibilities for Franklin's character in the MCU. He could be the key to saving it, or he could play a pivotal role in its destruction. If Doctor Doom gets a hold of him, there's no telling what might happen, and there's always a chance that a future version of Franklin might show up out of nowhere. It's impossible to predict what will happen for sure because we don't have Franklin's dream powers, but whatever takes place, it's more likely than not that he'll play a central role. There's one thing we do know for sure though, he's not gonna have a normal childhood.